Coming up on the programme this week, we're going to be chatting to Mary Maguire. Mary and her husband Kevin and family went on holiday to Kenya some years ago, and it completely changed their lives. We'll be telling you all about that. We'll also be catching up with Jimmy and Janice Foley from County Tipperary and looking at their magnificent creative work. Later on in the programme, we're at the Station Pub in Didsbury for a great session of Irish traditional music. We'll be chatting to Paul and Annette Gallagher and many, many more. Sit back and relax as I take you out and about in Manchester. But first up is Mary Maguire, and I'm going to be chatting to her about how she got involved in the Good Life Orphanage and all the good work she does in Kenya.
Yeah, well, what happened, we went to Kenya in 2000 for my husband's birthday, and although we were in this nice hotel, we saw a lot of poverty on the way coming into the hotel, and we thought, well, we'll go and have a look. And we asked a rep, could we show our children? I'm not saying we're well off, but in comparison to the people that we saw on the way into the hotel, we were well off. So we brought our children, and we showed them a school called Maguire Primary School, and the children were on the ground writing, and it was like a dirt floor, and they had little grub that goes into their feet from the dirt floor called jiggers. And when we saw them, because the jiggers actually causes the toenails to come off and very bad sores on the feet. So we thought, well, we'll come back to Manchester and we'll get some money. We put in a concrete floor. Then a couple of years later, we put in the water supply. And then in the year 2005, we came back to Manchester and we raised about £42,000. And we went back out with 16 people and we rebuilt the whole school as such.
Now, it's an incredible story because, of course, this has taken over your life and your husband's life because you've done an enormous amount of fundraising. Now, tell me a little bit about your involvement with the fundraising and Kevin's involvement and how that works.
Well, what it is, I be in Manchester for I stay here for about 7 months of the year. Kevin spends about 8 months in Kenya because he oversees a lot more. He's a lot more practical than I am. I'm more raising money to make sure everything runs properly. And the big thing about our orphanage is nowhere along the line do we take any money out of it. If somebody gives us a pound goes and is spent on the project. There's no accommodation fees, no administration fees, which means that I do a lot myself. But I've got a good team round me in Manchester that do but help me out. They arrange some fundraisers every year, and then we've got fantastic support from the community here in Manchester, and we also we get donations from Northern Ireland, and also, believe it or not, from Germany as well, with a young German couple that came over a few years ago, and they actually they always make a donation every year as well.
Now, were they people that gave up their jobs here in the time and you recruited them to go out and work out there to build the orphanage and to build the school?
Well, it was mostly people, friends, family that wanted to do something, and they all came out and they gave their time again. They paid for all their own fares and everything, and they came out and they worked on the project on that school. Since then, we've more or less, we now at the minute, we love to see volunteers coming out, but we also know that if we give anything we're building or anything like that there, if we're overseeing it, or if Kevin's overseeing it, not me, if he's overseeing it, we tend to use local tradesmen, because that way we're putting money back into the community, and we're giving the money is actually going to local people, we're giving them jobs.
Of course, the Good Life Orphanage has become very famous to us here in Manchester because of all your great fundraising and great work you do. But tell us a little bit about now the orphanage, of how you actually got it off the ground and the type of children or people that you've got there.
Well, the orphanage really is thanks to the generosity of people in the Northwest and Northern Ireland. That's where everything has come from. We've got 5 houses because we thought, well, we'll try and make them more of a family environment than an institution. So there's a mama in each house and there's an auntie. These are usually women. The mama's always a woman about between 40 and 50. She's had her own children, she's brought them up. The auntie's a younger woman, she can do more physical work. And then we've 12 children in each house, and the children come from all different backgrounds. All our children come from the children's department. They're either orphaned, abandoned, or also vulnerable children, which we found that because of the poverty, there's a lot of the children living in very, very bad conditions. At the moment, we've 69 children at the orphanage. Our last children to come in was triplets, Mary, Charlotte and Lydia, who unfortunately their mother died when she was given birth, and she left another 5 siblings. And 3 of the children that were already in the family, they go to our school, so we knew that they were a very poor family. And like a can of formula milk is £15 in Kenya. So if you're earning £1.50 a day, there's no way, if the mother's not there, you can afford to feed these children. And because they were born so small, they were all under 2 kg when they were born. The father came to us and we had a discussion, and the girls now have come to us for the first 3 years of their lives, when we can actually look after them, and hopefully after that time they may be reunited with the family if they're strong enough and if the family circumstances dictate that.
Now, for our viewers watching you tonight, what would you like to say to them? How would you like them to help you?
Well, the first thing is, we were only a small charity, so it costs us about £70,000 a year to run the orphanage. If you imagine, we've 24 staff now. We've all these children that have to have medical bills paid for, food, everything like that there. So financial help is great for us. With people, if they want to fundraise for us, that's fantastic. People, if they want to come out and visit, we've had loads of people come out from this area and volunteer and come out and work on the project. And the other thing is, which we find a lot of families like to do, is that you can sponsor a child, and for £22 a month you have like a link to a child, and once a year you get their school report, you get a progress report, you get a current photograph, and if the child's old enough you actually get a letter. And the big thing is, last year we started to Skype our sponsors, so for people with a family it's a nice thing to have that link to the orphanage and to be able to see, yeah, we helped this child, and to watch the child progressing as well.
Mary, from all the team here on Irish TV, thank you and Kevin for the great work you do for all those children out in Kenya. You do a remarkable job, and God grant you the health to continue.
Thank you very much, Martin, and thank you to Irish TV for asking us to do this interview. Thank you.
Oops, I think there's a bit of room for improvement there. Now then, what an incredible lady Mary Maguire is, and we wish her the very best of luck with the magnificent work she does in Kenya, and her husband Kevin.